Welcome to the Focal Insights Podcast Founder Hour edition, hosted by co-founder Joe Pollock. Joe has been in the e-commerce industry for over 25 years. He grew and bootstrapped his own startup to a successful exit. Founder Hour episodes go behind the scenes to learn how some of the best e-commerce brands were founded, grown, and operated straight from the founders themselves. Founder Hour is brought to you by Focal Software, a new generation ERP and operation suite for e-commerce brands and third-party marketplace sellers. Focal was built with SMB brands and marketplace sellers in mind to help them grow profitably. Now let's welcome our host, Joe Pollock.
Hello and welcome to the Focal E-commerce Insights Podcast, where we chat with e-commerce entrepreneurs about business, selling online, and how to overcome challenges for success. Joining us today is Ty Canion from Canion3D. In 2015, Ty founded Canion3D and is currently the president and CEO. He has a BA in Business and Entrepreneurship and an MBA in IT from the University of Arizona. He also has an Associate of Applied Science Information Resource Management degree from the Air Force, where he served for 16 years. He has traveled to over 30 countries, quite a few, very inspirational for those of us who like to travel, and is from Buffalo, New York, but currently residing in Germany. Is that correct?
That is correct. Stuttgart, Germany, to be exact.
All right, fantastic. Well, Ty, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm honored to be here.
All right. Well, Ty, it sounds like you've got a lot going on, living in different places, starting a business. We'd like to start off by just getting the background on that, because what we're trying to do is inspire entrepreneurs as the e-commerce ecosystem grows. There are a lot of people that are dipping their toe into it, but these stories are great to let people know how others got into it and how they succeeded. You've been at it now for at least 10 years, I think, or close to 10 years. So why don't you give us your story, how you got started and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So my entrepreneurial journey began when I was in the Air Force. So the first business that I actually had was a business where I was building customized personal computers for people. So, you know, my work, my colleagues, people in the neighborhood, people in my area. I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada at the time. And yeah, so that was kind of like my first foray into entrepreneurship. And then, you know, as the years have gone on, I, continued doing that, but not, to a lesser extent, due to my career in the military, traveling all over and things of that nature, a little bit difficult to have a side business. But after I retired in 2014, I moved to Iceland. I was living there due to family reasons. And there I was working in IT. IT is my background. That's, pretty much the bread and butter of what I do. But when I was in Iceland, I knew I wanted to start another business, but I couldn't start an IT business because I was working for an IT company. So there's the conflict of interest there. So additive manufacturing was like something that I learned about years prior. I learned about companies like 3D Systems and things that Hewlett Packard were doing with creating models from different materials. So plastics, liquids, powders, you name it. I found it completely fascinating. So I said to myself, hey, let me just learn this on my own. Let me just buy a 3D printer and just jump straight in. So a small investment, $600 or so on Amazon. I bought my first 3D printer and I've grown my company ever since.
And when you say additive, was it additive manufacturing?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Why don't you explain that a little bit? Because I think that really is 3D printing, right?
It is. They're used interchangeably. However, 3D printing and there may be some subtle differences. So additive manufacturing involves a myriad of different materials. So we're talking about concrete, we're talking about plastic, we're talking liquids, we're talking various different polymers and the like. Whereas with 3D printing, it's more synonymous with the more well-known technologies like fused deposition modeling, where I'm sure you've seen this yourself, Joe, the desktop 3D printers that extrude the plastic through. That's more 3D printing, but I would say that they both can be used interchangeably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a question I had for you, because this has been around now for a while.
Sure.
Most people weren't aware of it probably
Mm-hmm.
for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then it really got into the news, and it seemed like it was about to go really crazy. Like everybody would have this in their home, and you know,
right.
the real future is probably printing food with
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's probably coming, but
it's already here. It's already here.
Oh, is that right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So it's growing. It's not the darling of the media that it was maybe a few years ago, but you feel like it's still growing. There's a massive future.
Oh, immensely. I mean, I think the fact that the media isn't covering it is good in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. No, the industry is growing immensely. I think I saw a projection by the year 2030. You know, the additive manufacturing industry is supposed to quadruple over the next 5 years or so because of all the different applications that you can do with 3D printing. We're talking about medical, dental, aerospace, defense, automotive. I mean, you know, in my company, we work in all of those domains. So, you know, so I see it as an industry that's only going to grow even bigger, especially now with the advent of building houses with 3D printers. They now have they have concrete 3D printers. Companies like Black Buffalo, that's one company that I can think of off the top, and Cobot, that's another one. They actually produce 3D printers that can build houses. So it's actually pretty fascinating when you see it, and just the opportunities that are there, you know, as the technology gets bigger and it becomes more and more accessible. We could see the end of homelessness potentially with a lot of this technology. Not just that, but also in the healthcare space. You know, we see advances every day in that realm. So the list goes on and on, Joe. I can't tell you how much I'm excited and happy to be in this industry because it's only going to grow bigger.
Yeah. I think when you look at adoption curves and growth curves in different type of technologies, it's really in its infancy. Absolutely. Even though it's been around for a while. So
sure.
Big future there. Well, let's talk a little bit about how you got your business started and the challenges that you've had, and especially as it relates to e-commerce. I know that you've got some pretty expensive stuff on your website that people, you know, once you get up to a certain price, people aren't quite as willing to put in a credit card. But how do you deal with those kind of challenges?
Well, so so the thing with Canion3D is, you know, we're a niche. We offer niche product, niche services. So you know, we're not necessarily out there trying to find the average consumer. You know, we do a lot of business with universities, with other businesses, with people that are in the additive manufacturing space. So so as far as like the challenges, as far as the prices go, our customers kind of know going in that they're going to have to spend a little bit for especially for an industrial 3D printer, you know, a 3D printer that can print things, that can print materials like PEEK and PEC. These type of materials are being sent up to space, you know, and can survive the, you know, the elements in outer space. So, you know, so when you start getting into that realm and looking into those type of systems for a business and for a university and for research, yeah, they kind of know going in. But one of the things that we offer is we offer a discount to all educational institutions and research institutions. So, you know, a 20% discount, and yeah, and we're always going to stand by that, because we feel like the more we can get these printers into those type of areas, the more and more people are gonna gravitate to it and see what an amazing technology this is, and how how universities and businesses can sustain themselves for years on end just by bringing in a system that maybe can eliminate production of certain things and certain parts that they might need for specific applications. So I hope that answers your question, but I think the biggest, those challenges, I think we have those pretty covered.
Okay, and we work with a lot of companies that work in more traditional marketplaces.
Sure.
Let's just use Amazon as an example.
Sure.
I think some of the things that you sell do lend themselves to that. Maybe some of the raw materials to be used in the printing process. Are you on different marketplaces like Amazon?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So we actually have about 12 different sales channels besides our website. So we're on Etsy, we're on Amazon, we're on Walmart.com. We're on Bonanza, which is a lesser known platform, but I actually kind of like their platform because theirs is more catered to electronics and home electronics and things like that. So that's a really good marketplace for us. But that's just a few. I mean, I can't think of all of them. We'd be here all day. But using other platforms is something that we actually are trying to get away from, due to the fact that a lot of these platforms charge quite a bit to list on their sites. You got the listing fee, you got the transaction fees, you got this and that, as opposed to our website where our customers can get the products as we get them in, or as we build relationships. Then they can also get great discounts. But at the same time, we're actually doing better by selling through our website, because we're getting more. We're not losing out. We're actually gaining, by selling less, if you can believe that. So
yeah, higher margins.
Higher margins,
sure.
Exactly.
But not always the same volume or reach.
Right.
It just depends on your business model. And I would imagine once you get people on some of those channels, then they become more aware of you and then go directly to you.
Absolutely. I mean, during the pandemic, we did our absolute best during that time. I mean, because we were listed on all of those websites that I mentioned before, or those companies that I mentioned before. And I mean, people were just kind of clicking through and finding stuff, and we also kind of tried to put out there in our messages on social media, Instagram primarily, is that, hey, if you're in a house, why don't you pick up 3D printing? Or, why don't you learn how to 3D print with a 3D pen, which, was one of our biggest selling items, a low cost item, a high margin item, and something that was easy to ship and things like that. So that type of situation was really great for us during that time, because we were on those other platforms.
Yeah, and I think what you described there, at least to some degree, was building brand awareness and also enterprise value.
Sure.
So do you? It sounds like you put a lot of value on direct purchasing from your own website, which of course you should. That's where you make the most money, the highest margins. But do you see an ongoing value to all those channels to do just that, build that brand awareness?
Oh, for sure.
Just be wherever people are looking for this stuff, you want to be there, kind of a thing.
Oh, no question, Joe. I mean, you can't deny Amazon. I mean, they're the biggest company one of the biggest companies in the world. So being listed there, you're only doing yourself a favor, by doing that. I think I do believe that holding back certain products for those sites could be advantageous. Maybe selling the smaller items, like I'll give you myself as our company as an example. So we probably don't have many products listed on Amazon right now, but before we had pretty much just our consumables. So the 3D printer filament, the 3D printer resin, those type of products. are really good for that type of platform because you know it's typically a higher margin item, so you got a little bit of flexibility when it comes to any charges that you might incur. But yeah, like the 3D printers and those type of things, yeah, we tried to keep that within the confines of our website for the most part. But you know, but of course, like going forward, we definitely want to have a bigger presence on those sales channels as well, because I mean, the more locations we're located, the better. So that's
Yeah, and a lot of like the raw materials, I think they come in just like beads oftentimes, right? Like
actually, so yeah, so I have some of our filament here. So this is our a black PLA filament. It actually comes in a spool. Yeah, it's a spool of polylactic acid material. So polylactic acid is a biodegradable polymer that's made from corn products, I believe. So it's actually a really good and environmentally friendly product as well. But yeah, but typically those are the type of products that we would sell on those channels, because again, they're easy to ship. It's not much overhead when it comes to getting it to the customer, and typically higher margin item.
yeah, and a good shelf life.
Absolutely.
Were you using fulfillment by Amazon and Walmart, or do you ship
Ship ourselves. Yeah,
you do?
I did. Myself, you know, and my other employees with the company, they helped me out with shipping from the US all the way here. So it's
Yeah.
actually really nice. So
And
yeah.
that makes sense for you because using FBA gives you some advantages that you don't necessarily need with your type of product, like things
Right.
like Prime Days or holiday
Yeah.
special offers. That's not really your
No.
gift, you know. I mean, to
Yeah.
some degree, you
Well,
know.
to some degree, certain things like the 3D scanners that we sell through our partner 3D Maker Pro, and shout outs to them. That was actually that's been actually a really great item over the holidays. This year for sure. Last year was really good last year. So yeah, because we do some cross promotion. I'm partnered with another company called AE Sub. They're a company here in Germany. They supply us with the 3D scanner spray. So we do a lot of bundling. So we'll bundle a 3D scanner with the can of the spray. I got a can of the spray right here. So and then shout out to Matt Stuck, who's one of the guys who's one of the sales guys there. But he always sends us these trial sizes, so we can send them to customers as like a free gift, if we're late with shipping or something to that effect. We try to leverage all of our partnerships with everything that they provide us. So if they provide us with discounts, they provide us with, trial size, of material. Also, Licreate. This is another company that we're partnered with, company out of Netherlands. Shout out to them. They get us these small bottles to distribute. So we have a really good relationship with our partners. So
Yeah, yeah, that sounds important to your type of
yeah,
business for
and that
sure.
helps with the business. I kind of lost track, but that's what really helps with growing the business and keeping us viable with such a niche product.
Yeah. Okay, well that gives us a good background on what you've got going on, where you're selling, and some challenges. Let's talk a little bit about some wins that you've had as they relate to technologies, because Focal Software, as you know, is a ERP software to help manage e-commerce businesses and help them grow profitably.
Sure.
What
Okay.
software or other technologies do you use that have made you successful or have helped you overcome challenges, maybe save money, be more efficient?
Oh, sure. So software is another avenue that we're trying to, we're getting into software as a service, blockchain. We're really trying to, we're actually in the process of developing a blockchain application for the additive manufacturing industry. It's called Let's Build. And how we've kind of conceptualized it and kind of basically built a a use case for it basically is we use a web framework called Streamlit. It is a web framework that's primarily uses the Python programming language. A couple years ago, I was, just kind of, I need to learn a programming language. Like that was just kind of like that's just kind of how my brain works. I'm always like trying to learn new things and things like that. So I, was reading about different ones, and Python, they said, was like the best one to learn if you're just starting out. And I'm going to tell you, Joe, it has completely changed everything in terms of our business. I mean, we've not only built the use case for the Let's Build app, but I've also dabbled in building like trading apps. So so basically so basically like an app that shows like all the different stock indicators and things, because I'm really into investing. So it maybe hasn't affected us directly in terms of sales, but it has helped us in terms of expanding out our technology and learning something new that we can implement in other areas. So another app that we developed is an app called Medical PDF Expert. It's actually on our MedTech site. So if you go to our main website, if you go to MedTech, you can actually get a free trial of it. And we've actually been dabbling with AI with it. So basically we built an app to where if a customer or if a patient wanted to get more insight into their medical records or into their medical documents that they get, they can upload it. Doesn't save any data. It doesn't keep anything. It just uploads it directly to the site, and then it does machine translation of the actual document. So it gives and it explains it in plain language. So that's one of the other things that we've been able to implement just from a software standpoint.
Yeah, and because we're an ERP software, we always ask too, what do you use to run your business? How do you keep track of all your things that you got going on?
Well, I would probably say we don't have one thing that we use like Salesforce or something like that. Primarily, we use WordPress. Our website, our CRM is WordPress. We're able to keep track of our customers there. We export that list, and then if we need to send an email list through MailChimp, which is the service that we use to send out our monthly newsletters, we can just import that list from WordPress into MailChimp, and it uploads all of our customers that way. So we try to keep our operations lean, Joe. We're not necessarily trying to pay for things that we don't need to pay for, because we're a small company. But utilizing what we have, and what we in our knowledge base is how we get things done, and we do a great job of it.
Yeah, and that's pretty typical, using what's referred to as point solutions. So instead of one software to manage everything, as you need them, you add a software here, you add QuickBooks for accounting, you add kind of keep piling on in that manner.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us up to the current state of things. Let's talk a little bit about the future, because the e-commerce marketplace right now is at about $6 trillion per year in online sales. It's about 20% of every retail sale that happens, and that's moving to about 8 trillion, which is a massive increase, probably in the next 2 to 3 years. So what are your thoughts? I mean, you're already doing 3 of the biggest future forward things: 3D printing, blockchain, and you're leveraging AI. But what are your thoughts on the future of e-commerce in general, how it relates to you?
Excellent question, Joe. So right now, we have 3 locations. So we're headquartered in the U.S. in Buffalo, New York. I'm physically located here in Germany, where we do our 3D printing service and the retail. But we're also located in Fez, Morocco. And in Fez, Morocco, we are located at the Fez Smart Factory, which is at the UEMF campus in Fez, Morocco. At this location, we have full access to all of the facilities there at the Smart Factory, a 300-seat auditorium, breakout rooms, several different rooms for research and development. And at this location, we're developing a training boot camp. So we're offering a training boot camp in 3D printing and also in information technology services. And also, we're partnering with a couple companies to deliver the certification exams to our students. So that right there is going to be kind of a direct to consumer thing, but it's also going to be an e-commerce because we're developing an e-learning platform in conjunction with this training. So that way we can get students not just locally in Morocco or in the Middle East or Africa or, wherever. We can get students all over the world, So that's kind of the future for us, Joe, is we're developing this training program because we feel like this is what we need. This is what we have to do to grow the industry. We have to bring more awareness to it. We have to get people more interested in it and get people, give people ownership. I think that's one of the big issues these days. People don't have enough ownership. And if we can teach people how to create their own business through additive manufacturing or through IT, get certified, that would be like, that's a huge feather in our cap, I think.
Yeah. And when you talk about advice for people that want to get into e-commerce, that's the thing that we'll wrap up with. And there's typically two ways to do it, really, because we're talking about entrepreneurship. You can dive into the deep end and figure it out, or in the past with e-commerce and entrepreneurship, those were the options that you had. There weren't a lot of schools that taught it.
Yep.
So it sounds like your advice leans more toward the side of start early and learn about how to run a business and learn about e-commerce before you get into it, so that maybe you can avoid some mistakes. Or I'll let you give us your take on that for people that are thinking, hey, I should be selling online. I want to quit my 9-to-5 and sell online.
I tell them, Joe, is to just do it. Just start it. Just start somewhere. It all starts with a domain name. So that's how, I'll just give Canion3D as an example. When I was in Iceland and was getting everything started there, we started out just basically selling the 3D models. So, I got a little bit proficient with 3D printing. So we were able to get some sales and things like that from people that wanted, the 3D printed objects. But I'm like, man, if I really want to grow this, we need to get products. We need to build partnerships. So I would say this would be my advice. I'd say buy the domain name. Okay. Figure out what it is you're gonna name it, whatever the name of your company is, buy it. So that way that's the first step. Second step, get hosting. And learn. Just play around with it. You're not gonna mess anything up. You just have to you have to get into it. So YouTube has so many videos and so much information on how to set up WooCommerce and set up a WordPress site and things like that. If you don't want to use WordPress, use Shopify. You might have to pay a little to get on there. I'm not sure exactly, but do a Shopify site and just start adding your products slowly but surely. And before you know it, you're gonna start making sales, and then you're gonna be like, man, forget this job, I'm out of here. So that would be my advice. Just get started.
Yeah, really, like you said, with WordPress or Shopify, the barriers to entry are not huge to at least get started and build that foundation, and then
Absolutely. It's a very small investment. It's a very small investment, just to get it started. Because once you get it started, you got no excuse. You have to see it through after that. So yeah, that would just be my advice to people is if you have an idea, don't wait around for people to approve it. Don't wait for your significant other, your mother, whoever to say, oh, that's a great idea. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to probably say it's not a good idea. I'm just being real. But
they're going to say, don't quit your day job.
Yeah, right? But don't quit your day job because, like I mentioned before, I started my entrepreneurial journey while I was in the military. So it's been a long process, and it takes time. And the other thing I would say, Joe, is don't get discouraged. Like, if you don't make any sales, so what? Just keep working, just keep plugging, keep adding things to the site to make it more appealing. Talk to people, get out in the street and actually talk to people and say, hey, I got this product. That's been one of the best things for us, Joe, is, we operate a lot of word of mouth and just kind of, seeing people and talking to people, going to events like Form Next. Myself and my partner here in Germany, we were just there in November. We got to meet with a lot of our partners. So 3D Maker Pro was there. CreateBot, which is a company that provides us the industrial 3D printers. So we got to actually meet these people and talk to these people and get eyes on these people. And then all the other people that were there, they're like, where are you guys from? Oh, we're from Canion3D. Oh, what do you know what I mean? It's just we have to get outside, and get from behind the computer and actually get out and talk to people and tell people what you're offering. And I think then you'll see success.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're talking about, at least to some degree, is product market fit. And you don't always know too when you start if you have a perfect product market fit. And so when you're talking to people, getting feedback, did you have to do any big pivots, as they say, or did you have a pretty solid idea of what demand was out there and what you needed to bring to the market?
Not so much, Joe. I mean, because like I said, I mean, we started with making the models, which we still do, but more on a more professional level now. And then we got into the retail. So the first product that we sold was actually the 3D pen, which simulates a 3D printer. It's just a handheld pen, and you can draw your 3D model with the pen. So it's actually, but we're still doing retail, but we got now over 100 products, on our site. So I wouldn't say that there was much of a big pivot. It's just more just adding on to what we currently have and making everything better from that standpoint.
Yeah. All right. Well, excellent information, excellent advice.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So as we wrap up here, why don't you let our listeners know where they can find out more about what you do or potentially get in touch with you?
Sure. Okay, yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Ty Canion, just as it shows here on the screen. So just type that in and you can find me. I'm happy to connect with whoever would like to connect. Canion3D.com is our main website. You can also check out our wellness site, C3D Wellness, our IT site, and then also our MedTech site on the same website. So you can find all that there. We're on all the social media platforms, Instagram, X, Facebook, everywhere, just Canion3D. So that's where you can find us.
You're easy to find, it sounds like.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Ty, and thank you to everyone listening, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Focal Insights Podcast. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can be alerted of new episodes. See you next time.